Digital Innovation Center, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. You know, here's the one question that I get asked. We get lots of clients, CXOs for large Fortune 500 companies that come through this facility. Here's the number one question that I get asked. How did you get started on the digital journey? And at every step of the way, what are the lessons we've learned? So I thought I'd take a minute and share that with you and tell you a little bit about the journey we've on and what we have learned as we've gone through it. Look, this is dating us a little bit, but back in 2013, you'll recall, and go back and think about it, the world was just coming off of the high of internet and digital 1.0. And that meant that e-commerce and much of digital in the front office had come to be. This was mainstream, we were all well immersed on it. And we started hearing from our clients that actually those investments were starting to hit a wall as it went and affected and touched the middle and the back office. So as an example, in the banking industry, you'd be able to take out your iPhone and you could set up a checking account in seconds and you could get it up and running, and a fantastic experience in the front office. But if you had to fund the account, it still took you a long time. In other words, the middle office and the back office had not really caught up in digital. And from banking to manufacturing, from consumer goods to life sciences, this played over and over again. And one of the first decisions we made in Genpact Digital, and this is the lesson that we've learned, is to be very sharply and narrowly focused. So we drew a sort of a quadrant, a 4x4, and we drew the axis, and we said technology can go from mainstream to innovative. And then we said the applicability can go from horizontal, broad-based, to very niche, use case specific, domain specific. And we drew a little quadrant where we said that's what we're going to play. And that was going to be at the intersection of domain and digital. And it was a really fundamental idea because what it allows you to do, and this is the lesson learned, is it allows you to be very sharply focused and put all of your investments across a clean set of narrow objectives that gets us the best returns. And obviously that played out for us. So now fast forward a little bit, and a few years later, we were speaking with clients. And of course, we started capturing the early interest, benefit, engagement, and deployment of digital in the middle and the back office and driving end-to-end transactions. And clients ended up having another problem. And the question on the table was, well, we're going to implement all this new digital stuff, but how do we make it work with all of what we already have? And so the challenge and the opportunity for us, and this is what we did, was to implement a systems of engagement approach. The notion of a thin layer of technology that would sit on top of an existing system of records. And this system of engagement, this thin layer of technology, would address the gaps that would bring the new innovative digital features that allowed the corporations to sort of transport themselves from their current state to their future state. And of course, this system of engagement was, looking back, has been a great decision for us because we now have it implemented across many different clients in a variety of different industries, and has become a perfect way to bridge the gap from where you are today and large investments in core systems of records into where you want to be tomorrow, which is to have a systems of engagement that gives you the key pieces of capability that we need to operate in the digital world. So that was now 2015, and we progressed on that time scale. And so now we start coming into 2017, and now the issues on the table change, the topics of conversation change. And I had clients coming here in Palo Alto and telling us very clearly and simply that, listen, we're starting to realize that digital is actually a journey. It's not a destination. You start listening to what they're saying, and what you realize is, actually what they're saying is that there are multiple stops on the way, and in fact, you don't even know what the next stops are going to be. I'll give you an example. You know, we've been working with a top 10 CIO in the industry, and the reason that the whole discussion was all around how do we get some robotic process automation agents, RPA bots up and running, thousands in number, across a variety of geographies. And you know, we go through this process and get it up and running, and the client is able to benefit from it. And now, all of a sudden, the discussion changes, and the discussion is, well, we have all of this data that we didn't previously have that is now available. Can we run some machine learning on it? And then you run machine learning analysis and figure out some patterns, and actually some great patterns in the data. And then all of a sudden, the discussion changes, which is, we already know the questions people are going to ask. We know the answers to those questions. Why don't we put a conversational AI chatbot and automatically respond to that, actually preemptively, even before the next question gets asked? And so there you have a great example of how robotic process automation leading to machine learning, leading to conversational AI chatbot, leading to something else. Digital is a journey, it's not a destination. And so what becomes important is to think about all of the innovative technologies that are coming through. And it's a large list, and it's a growing list. Every single day, there's new things that are being added. For each technology area, there are a variety of different options and vendors and providers. And so what my clients have to do is, so they have to sift through all of that noise to pick, to curate, and to apply and contextualize the right technologies. And so our journey became, how do we take all of that noise and reduce it to something that's usable? How do we curate the right set of technologies? How do we put together an integration framework and a deployment methodology, a governance framework, and be able to pull all those pieces together and really drive digital as a journey, not as a destination? That, of course, was the launch of the Genpact Cora platform. And today, the Cora platform has become an incredibly successful platform. It's up and running in hundreds of clients. It's managing, it's being used by millions of users, and it's managing billions of transactions. And so, again, a key learning at the right step of that journey. And so from 2017, you come to today. In 2019, I think the conversation has changed yet again. And in fact, the new discussion topic on the table is a couple of things. It's, what is the future of work? And how do I, as a Fortune 500 company, make investments today and think about our workforce that allows us to sort of think through work of the future and get ready for it, embrace it, and enable it? And the other question, of course, is how do you think about experience as the center, as the compass, as the true north of everything that we do, increasingly as we find ourselves in an experience economy? And so really what we did this year is actually launch the Genpact Cora pre-trained AI accelerators. And the idea of pre-trained AI accelerators is actually very simple and yet extremely profound. Because artificial intelligence in the enterprise has so much it can bring to the table, and yet it takes a long time to get off the ground. The critical mass is just too much to be able to kind of get done. And that's because we're starting with generic AI platforms and we're building from there. It's almost like we're building a house with sand and water. And pre-trained AI accelerators are the bricks. They're the process of bringing those two things together and providing these prefabricated Lego blocks that can come together and intertwine to actually build out a business process using AI. We pre-train them, and by the way, this is key. Pre-training can only be done if you have domain and if you have data, because you need labeled data to be able to train an AI engine to be able to deliver accuracy in the applications we're looking at. And so that's essentially what we've done. With pre-trained AI accelerators, we've pre-trained for a few specific domains, areas that we have deep expertise, operational experience, fingers and keyboards, eyes on screens, sort of history and knowledge of. And what we do is we take all of that and encapsulate that in this cognitive Lego brick, in this cognitive module that can then integrate into different value chains and actually build the value chains of the future. So as you've seen in digital, in Genpact's journey, we started early, but we were very narrow in our focus. We then moved on to what clients were asking for, and we're always responsive to the next question that came up. How do we integrate this with that existing system of records and keep everything whole? And then how do we actually think about this as a journey where we don't know the stops yet to come, but still all of those stops need to integrate into one comprehensive composite whole. And then eventually, as we come into today, how do we think about the future of work? How do we think about experience? And how do we use experience as the true north, as the compass for how we deliver it? So there, in a nutshell, is sort of the evolution of Genpact Digital. It's a little bit of a testament to the course that we've seen ourselves through as the company has evolved from being a business process management firm to now a digital transformation company, to hopefully eventually very soon an AI leader in the industry, and some of the key lessons we've taken away every step of the way.